When your company earns unlimited 2% cash back on all purchases with Capital One, that's serious business. So Stephen at SandCloud got a serious business card, the Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One.
We used our 2% cash back to help build our retail presence.
Savvy, Stephen.
And we get big purchasing power, so our business can spend more and earn more.
The Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus.
In a so-called free state, officials and stakeholders concoct solutions to problems often created by other bureaucrats and with little regard for infringements on the people. These stories are born at the apex of freedom and entrepreneurship. We foolishly advocate for the taxpayer. Brian's Beat presents Freedom Fools.
It's a Saturday afternoon, and I hope you're enjoying as the ground starts to dry up. I'm Brian. Welcome to Freedom Fools on WBSM. I sure am. And welcome to Saturday afternoon. Pretty nice day outside. It is also National Parents as Teachers Day. And I think somehow, some way, we're going to be emphasizing that throughout the show. It's also National STEM Day. I think that probably goes along with Parents as Teachers, STEM being the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And Walk to Work Day. Well, if you got to go to work, I guess if you are a short distance away, take the walk. It was on this date in 1933 that President FDR unveiled his Civil Works Administration, which was designed to create jobs for the more than 4 million unemployed Americans during the Great Depression. And just to give you a little idea, that was in 1933, about a year into his first year as president. And the Depression did not end until after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Just saying. We were introduced to the American Pay Television Network on this date in 1972. You might know the American Pay Television Network by its doing business as name, HBO, home box office. The Brian's Beat quote of the day. I've got a theory that if you give 100% all of the time, somehow things will work out in the end. I've got a theory that if you give 100% of the time, somehow things will work out in the end. That quote from Larry Bird, former Celtics great, for those that might not know who Larry Bird is. And you know, I know the grown-ups listening, they know who Larry Bird is and why he's called Larry Legend. But if you're in Gen Z, you never saw Larry Legend play. You might see a few clips on YouTube or something like that, maybe ESPN. But by and large, you don't really know Larry Legend the way us folks in our late 40s, 50s, 60s, and above know Larry Legend. Okay, 508-9960-500. Lots has happened since we last communicated with each other. Basically, I don't know, 7 o'clock last night. How many hours is that? Yeah, that many hours. Woman friend and I were watching a movie last evening, and I picked up the phone, and I saw this come across my news feed, that the U.S. Supreme Court had made a ruling that the Trump administration does not have to fork over 100% of November's SNAP benefit money. Now, when I left the station, in fact, I didn't really talk about it last night because I'm thinking, okay, the ruling has come down. Trump administration says that they will fork over the money. And then Maura Healey comes out saying that no matter what, you're going to get your SNAP benefits. That was when I left the station a little bit after 7 p.m. last night. 2 hours later, the Trump administration gets a temporary reprieve from a Biden appointee, Ketanji Brown. So it's not like every liberal on the U.S. Supreme Court is going to be defiant of Donald Trump. Whatever went down eventually made it to her court for an emergency stay. And she deemed it worthy enough to make the stay. So in other words, the Trump administration did not have to automatically fund 100% of the SNAP, basically starting for today. So I don't know if people here in the Commonwealth, people here in Greater New Bedford, if they indeed got their SNAP benefits today. So if you do know, please let me know at 508-996-0500. Did the SNAP benefits come out today? And what kind of change? I mean, this is a little bit different than the chess game that Congress or the people in power are playing against the pawns, the people like us. And the reason I say that is because people started making a plan. They thought the Trump administration had given in. Even Governor Healey, I'm not quite sure if she thought that the federal government was going to come up with the full tilt boogie. And if she didn't, she thought, okay, well, we've got some state money. We'll supplement with the state money. And then when the federal government gives its money, we'll take what is ours back in order to replenish, let's say, the rainy day fund. So I think everything is a little topsy-turvy right now. I'm not even sure the Trump administration knows everything that's going on because of this sudden ruling by the Supreme Court happened about 9 o'clock last evening that they being the federal government, the agricultural department to be more specific, does not have to come up with the money, all 100%. I should be clear, all 100% of the money to fund SNAP right now. Now, where does it go from here? In front of the Supreme Court for a possible hearing. When is that going to happen? Can't tell you. It's not like the court doesn't have a full docket. They started their fall session in October, and, they have the required cases and other cases. It's not like they don't do their job. So exactly when they squeeze this in, I don't know. I do know that the plan that Chuck Schumer, the Senate minority leader, came up with yesterday to have the Republicans agree to fund the Obamacare for 1 year was a non-starter for the Republicans. And so we're still in a government shutdown. Government shutdown. I think that we've already made a record. I think today is day 38. Day 38 of a federal government shutdown. And I know that air traffic controllers are doing whatever they need to do in order to bring a paycheck in. And I'm sure that there are other federal government employees that are considered essential doing something similar because they've got to put food on the table. Now, I think about so many different things when it comes to this. Maybe some of this has crossed your mind. You're an air traffic controller. You need to bring in some extra money. Now, as an air traffic controller, you didn't need to bring in extra money. Your salary pretty much covered everything. You worked regular hours. So where do you go at this particular time? What kind of employer? Are you going to Chick-fil-A? Where does an air traffic controller go to say, look, you need workers, I need work, put me to work? Because if you are the manager, the person who's going to do the hiring, you've got to say to yourself, how long is this air traffic controller, well-trained person, maybe a DEI, but still a well-trained person, how long is he or she going to stay in my employ? What happens when the federal government goes back to work? Are you hiring that particular person? Where does an air traffic controller go to find work in order to pay the bills? Can you imagine an air traffic controller as a Walmart greeter? Or maybe over at Target? I understand that they need money. I get it. But I'm not the person doing that hiring. And if you are a decent manager that thinks about your company, you're not just thinking, what am I going to do for the next week or two? You're thinking long term. I want, if I'm going to spend X amount of time and dollars to see that this person is trained in order to do the particular job, whether it's flipping burgers, extra help as a custodian, substitute teacher, whatever the case may be, there is a bit of a learning curve. And that learning curve means somebody has to be responsible for training that particular person. That's time, that's money. Are you taking, look, I'm asking this as a question. I'm not sure that I would. Nothing against the air traffic controller, but everything in regards to my particular biz that I'm running. And that air traffic controller, I know you're needing, but so am I. And I don't need somebody who might just up and go back to the old job in a week or two. And I was thinking about that with my guest the other evening on the program, Jill and Pam Keechler, Joe Fox from Pace in New Bedford. They have employees over at Pace, and those employees are hoping to stay in their job. It's not like they make a king's ransom. But some of the employees at Pace, they've been on the payroll for several years. They like what they do. But now it's crunch time for them. They're not sure that in December there's going to be money for them. So I believe the newspaper article that I was reading mentioned that Pace Head Start has already lost one employee. But how long will it be before others have to start looking? Now, it might be a bit different in the realm of Head Start because, again, depending on the academic skill of the Head Start employee, they might be able to latch on as a substitute teacher or a fill-in teacher, or maybe even a permanent job in teaching within one of the school systems. So that might work out. And then if they were to go down that particular road, they might consider staying there as opposed to going back to Pace, where in my mind anyway, my mind's eye is telling me that if you are an air traffic controller and you're making 80, 90, six figures, chances are you're going to stay in that position or go back to that position when it becomes available, because think about it. How many positions are open right now in that pay range for somebody who is looking for a week or two of pay? They're not too many. But I wish them all the best, because it's got to be difficult. It's got to be frustrating for the air traffic controller, because I would say that any air traffic controller, any of the workers for the federal government who are considered essential and have not been able to draw a paycheck, they are committed to their job. What else can you say? They're committed, and maybe they're bored, they don't want to sit around the house. But by and large, you have to consider them committed to the job, to their employ. Not necessarily their employer, but what they do. And so if they're going in there, I think the best way of looking at it, and this is coming from a person that is for small government, I think that our federal government and our state government, our local governments have way too many employees. But that stated, if they're willing to go to work without pay, that speaks volumes, at least to me. It tells me that these are some pretty dedicated people. Whether I think that they should be in their position or not is an entirely different thing. But they are proving that they're committed by going to work, knowing that the next pay cycle around, there still is not going to be a paycheck, or may not be a paycheck. 508-996-0500. So that's one of the things that really spun me around as I was going to sleep last night. I was thinking to myself, well, maybe this is over. At least the food stamps part is over. But it ain't. At least not right now. So something else that popped up, and I think it's kind of critical. I don't know that we're going to agree on this, but I certainly appreciate your opinion. So here we are, the state that reportedly is the best academically K through 12. Private school and government-operated schools. I was reading the other day, and the story goes pretty much like this. Teachers can have sex with 16-year-old students, and it's not against the law in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and a few other states, but we're here in Massachusetts. So I read it and I said, 16, huh? And I then proceeded to read the story, and it was talking about this school out in Pittsfield, where some female students had mentioned how I'm using the word, were groomed by a staff member, and then next thing you know, they were having sex / unwanted sex. But they didn't say no, so it's not unwanted sex. And apparently there is legislation up on Bacon Hill, and there has been legislation up on Bacon Hill in regards to basically not allowing authority figures, teachers, other types of school personnel, to have sex with any student. On the surface, that sounds like a pretty good idea. On the surface, that sounds like a pretty good idea. But then I started thinking, well, why is it statutory rape at 15, but not statutory rape at 16? And somewhere, the laws or the reasoning behind the law is the fact that people feel that a 16-year-old should be knowledgeable enough to realize if he or she wants to have sex. Kind of makes sense. Whether you agree that a 15 or a 16-year-old should have sex, that's an entirely different thing. But the basic thought process is that kids that age are having sex. At what particular time do you draw the line? And I guess the experts listened to other experts, and they figured they would vote on 16. So, should a teacher that is in his 20s, 30s, 40s be having sex with a 16-year-old student or a 17-year-old student? I would say to you, absolutely not. But then the question has to be, what if the 16, 17-year-old willingly wants to have sex with that teacher? Now you're going to say, no, 16 or 17. You know what? We don't know that. That is why there's that age. I agree it shouldn't happen, but we don't know. And let me turn the table just for a second. You don't think a 16-year-old male would want to have sex with his 33-year-old female teacher? Not saying it's right. And I'm not saying in each and every case a 16-year-old male is going to want to do that. But you don't think that there are some? And that's where the law has to be gray. If you say it's bad for the girls, then it also has to be bad for the boys. It has to be bad at that same age, too. You can't say it's okay for a 16-year-old boy, but the girl has to be 18. I know people have wide-ranging feelings on something like this. Basically, what it comes down to is Bacon Hill lawmakers. They've had a bill several times. Governor Healy, just to give you an idea, Governor Healy says if the bill comes to her desk, she'll sign it. The Senate president, we've been looking at it, trying to figure it out. The Speaker of the House, pretty much the same language. So my guess is something like this. Let me back up just a little bit. One other thing. So there have been many girls as witnesses that have testified in front of Bacon Hill lawmakers why they believe this bill should be enacted. From what I understand, there hasn't been any opposition. Nobody going up there saying, well, no, this should not work. But Bacon Hill lawmakers still have not passed it. My guess is, only a guess, is that they see a litany of lawsuits coming because of passing a bill written the way that it is. And as I say, if it's good for the goose, it's got to be good for the gander. And for whatever reason, 16 is that age. 508-996-0500. Thank you and hello.
Hi, Brian. To get back to the government shutdown.
Sure.
My son works for the United States Navy. He's a civilian employee for the U.S. Navy. Mm-hmm. He is required to work, and he's not being paid. And he lives up in Woolwich, Maine. He inspects the ships as they're being constructed at Bath Iron Works, which is owned by General Dynamics, one of the largest defense industries in the United States.
I have been by it several times.
And for those ships to be continuously built, they have to inspect them as they go, so he has to be there to inspect. Now, fortunately, my son, like myself, are disciplined financially, and he can probably work even to maybe the end of the year and pay his rent and put food on the table. He's not married. He's single, so that helps. And he rents an apartment. It's not very good, but he gets low rent because of it. And I'm going to tell you what I told him, and that is, when you work for a government that's $37 trillion in debt, and your paycheck doesn't show up one day, he says, don't be overly surprised. And he understands that. He understands that this government is unstable, and it's growing more and more politically unstable. And for multiple reasons. There's no one big reason, for multiple reasons. But I look at America as growing. It's financially unstable because of the debt, and it's growing politically unstable. And I primarily blame the lack of American history for that, along with other things. And that's my contribution. I am byway driving. I have hands-free call-in, so I'm not jeopardizing anybody's safety. And I just want to make that comment to you, Brian. I know you and I don't always agree, but on this case, I think we can find some agreement. And with that, my friend, I'll let you go.
Thank you, man. Drive carefully. I appreciate it.
Okay.
508-996-0500. Thank you. Hello.
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 I like that last caller. That notion that history isn't being taught, or is certainly not being learned, is, I think, a really cogent point.
Mm-hmm.
And, I missed your monologue. I'm sure it was good, because, it usually is, but I did miss it. I caught the tail end about a bill that's coming up. Was it establishing a legal age?
It's already there. There is a legal age. But one is trying to change that. I believe they want to change it to 18. It would have to be 18 if you want to.
They want to raise the age of consent. Is that it?
What they would like to do is to stop teachers. I say teachers, school personnel, people in authority, from having sex with children, students.
And there's not a statute on the books right now that deals with that. That'd be surprising to me.
Well, 16 is the age. Excuse me. 16. It's acceptable for. I'm using teachers as the generic for teachers to have sex with a student.
The legislation's not. Is the legislation inspired by wayward teachers, or is it you're just using that as an example?
It is inspired by wayward teachers, school personnel.
Wow. Well, they deserve their own special legislation, I guess, right? We have the general laws, and then we have the special laws, right? I mean, it just seems. Listen, you asked an open question about what is it all right for a 30-year-old age difference. I wasn't thinking about teachers, but I mean, what if your uncle, or your second cousin, is Jerry Lee Lewis? I mean, was that consensual? They certainly didn't think so in England, but it was apparently okay in the Hill Country.
Well, I think it was. They were married.
Yeah, they were legally married.
They were legally married,
which is quite a bit different. That's that's quite a bit different than a dalliance, if you will.
Right. So once again, there was no opposition, apparently, when there were hearings on this legislation, but it's never been brought up for, I think it's never been brought up for a vote. And there are women in particular very upset that it hasn't come up for a vote.
Who is the lobbying sponsor, if there is one, if you know?
I have it written down. I don't have it in front of me. I'll get that out after the break. That's a great question.
Yeah, so somebody's pushing it. Yeah, good. Yeah, well, and that's the way the wheels get greased around here. But hey, listen, Brian. One last thought, because I was listening to music before I missed your monologue, and I heard the original version of "I Want My MTV," Money for Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And this one was unedited. So they used the F word three times in it, which is now a no good word to describe somebody that's homosexual. And I was just thinking, they won't play that on the radio. This was on Pandora. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking, I'm so safe because the powers, whether they're legal or just influential that be, and avoided me hearing that on the radio. I can't watch the Dukes of Hazzard. They took cops off the air at one point during the COVID George Floyd thing. It's like, am I really being kept safe by the government? I don't know. But I did enjoy hearing the word just because I hadn't heard it in so long. It had more meaning to me. It made me want to have a cigarette,
Well, puff away. I don't know that
right.
I don't think you have to go that far, though. You can keep away from the butts.
But in England they don't agree with Jerry Lee Lewis, but a cigarette's a faggot. Can you say that? Sorry.
Oh, you did.
All right,
man. Thank
Brian,
you.
have a great day.
You too. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. Cigarettes are known as faggots over there, aren't they? Or they were anyway. Let's take one more before the break. Hello.
What's going on?
I'm winging and I'm wanging. What about you?
Oh, I'm driving and I'm swerving, so that's about the same.
I hope you're not swerving.
Well, it's actually a twisty road. I should have probably said that. And I'm hands-free, not going to kill anyone. This bill, it's always kind of funny, like when a bill is presented, right? There's a million different types of bills for different things. A lot of them are generally about protecting somebody. When this bill got put together, do you think they were thinking of the 16-year-old, or were they thinking of the perverted teachers that wanted to have sex with 16-year-olds? Or the ones that were doing it anyway, but they needed to get an out so that they need a law to protect them from their, skeeviness. So I think it's the latter, and I don't think it's a bunch of 16-year-olds that are going to the legislature saying, hey, we want to have sex with teachers. No, it's the other way around. It's the pervs that, or the, I would say left wing, the awfuls, the affluent white liberal females, the progressive, wing of that they're up for turning everything over, because they're such angry people. But whatever. So I guess the question is that when it was 18 for legal age for consent, was that because someone could make a decision couldn't make the right decision at 16 and could at 18? Or was it maybe that a teacher has leverage over a student? You think about how much leverage college professors have over 20-year-olds and 23, 24-year-olds. They could change their entire thinking from when they grew up to a new format of thinking or a different way of thinking. So I guess if you're trying to influence younger children at 16 and up, that law would benefit teachers by being able to have more influence and more leverage. And maybe the legislature wants this to happen because they're looking for younger voters. So if they could say, hey, this is a consensual law, they can make decisions at 16, why can't they vote? You know?
Well, the legislature hasn't moved on this.
Right, but you've got major executives in the government that are, they're okay with it. One is Maura Healey and others. So I guess the question is, I guess the legislature will come to it at one point or another. But didn't you say the teachers' organization was for it?
No, I said that no, it doesn't say anything about the teachers' organization at all. That there's the Children's Advocacy Center that has been pushing this, along with some of the girls that were sexually abused when they were kids.
They're pushing for a law to allow teachers to have sex with children at 16?
No, they're trying to stop them from being allowed to have sex with kids that are 16.
Okay, well, I agree with. I guess I'm going to stop drinking before I call your show.
Well, if you're drinking and driving, then you got more than one thing going on.
I'm kidding. All right, well, much ado about nothing. Charge on. That law works.
I don't know that. I'm not sure that it does, because Bacon Hill lawmakers have stalled on it for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, I would think that they would stall on it for the main reason is they want a younger voter. So if they can allow the law to exist, then they could, again, you could push. These people can make decisions at 16, and we should open up voting to 16, and then it'll be 14 and whatever. So that's the only reason I could think that's the case. So.
Yeah, but what's to make these kids at 14 or 16 think that they're going to vote for the person in office?
Just being able to vote. Look at how strong the voting bloc was for Mondami down in New York, and that was primarily younger. It was
everybody for him.
Not really.
When you've got 50% of the vote, that's everybody. In a 3-person race, that's virtually everybody.
Well, let's cheer on the communists. They're on the way.
Yeah,
so
that could be.
All right.
All right,
Thanks,
my man. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I am looking at I don't see a title for the bill. I'll keep looking as we go into the break. And, of course, we'll take your calls, 508-996-0500. Senate President Karen Spilka said the Senate is actively looking at it. Anytime any child has sexual assault, it is of major concern for the Senate. So here's, not trying to be a devil's advocate here, but it's probably going to sound like that. Anytime any child has sexual assault, to me, sexual assault is you didn't want it to happen. In particular, if you said something to the perpetrator and the perpetrator didn't stop. And I believe the reason why it's 16 is that an 18-year-old could have sexual relationship with a 16, two students in the same school. I'm not trying to advocate for this. I'm just trying to make it sound the way that it has to be from a legal standpoint. And it would be great if there are any attorneys listening to this. I would certainly love to hear from you on the program today. House Speaker Mariano, the bill is getting serious consideration, and it's moving through the process right now. We'll continue to review it and see where we can move it. Yeah, you might move it to a study committee where it kind of dies on the vine. And are there painful stories? I'm willing to bet that there are. But a friend of mine, person that she was seeing, still has the daughter, who was in a relationship with a teacher at her high school. And things may have changed. Eventually, word got out. But it took quite some time before the word got out. And the girl had been with this teacher for quite some time. She liked being with the teacher. She hated the fact that her family confronted her about this and, refused to talk about it with family members. Very upset that she was no longer going to be able to see the man that she presumably loved. What I'm saying is, sometimes at 16, you can make that conscious decision. And we certainly know that there are males that can make a similar decision. So I think there's a good reason, and I'm not advocating for school people in authority to be able to have sex with 16-year-olds, but I can see why the legislature is walking like they're stepping on glass, because there's a lot at play here.
The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
This is WBSM.
Coming up this weekend on Town Square Sunday, Veterans Day, November 11th, a chance to honor local veterans and visit Fort Tabor, Fort Rodman Military Museum and Veterans Memorial. President Bill Nedwich will have details on special programs at the museum and some of the new exhibits there. AHA is back on November 13th, highlighting things made in New Bedford. Kim Goddard will give us a rundown of activities. And the Hunger Heroes Food Drive looks to be especially important this year. The United Way's Victoria Grisella will have information about the November 15th food drop at Aldi's Market in Dartmouth. I'm Jim Phillips. Join us for Town Square Sunday, Sunday morning at 6 and 11 on 1420 WBSM and 99.5 FM.
Low-cost air helps you find the best airfares, foreign and domestic. Low-cost air, 800-221-6085. Low-cost air, 800-221-6085.
With the state of today's economy, it's more important than ever to invest in products that last for years to come. As the seasons shift and get cooler, make sure your closet is stocked with durable layers that stand the test of time from American Giant. American Giant's clothes work harder and are wearable season after season. Their greatest hoodie ever made is made from the highest quality materials that are cut and sewn right here in the United States. So you're investing right back in your local community. Choosing American Giant means taking a stand for American manufacturing and hardworking Americans, something other mega corporations don't care about. From fleece to knit, all in a range of colors for versatile daily wear, American Giant delivers everyday pieces designed for everyday life. Feel the difference of quality, made-to-last clothes from American Giant. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code STAPLE20.
October brings it all. Halloween parties, game day tailgates, crisp fall nights. At Total Wine & More, you'll find just what you need for them all. Whether you're hosting friends or enjoying the cool fall air, you'll find thousands of wines, spirits, and beers at the lowest prices. Mixing up something spooky? Total Wine & More is your cocktail central for all your Halloween concoctions. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Pickup and delivery available in most areas. See TotalWine.com for details. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. P21.
Here for the Lowe's early Black Friday deals? You're right on time for some of our biggest savings. We're talking up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Holiday lights going up soon? Select ladders are up to 50% off right now. Get Black Friday prices without the Black Friday crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 11/19. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
There's no better fool than the Freedom Fools. Now, back to Brian.
In only 2 hours a day, our students are learning twice as fast as students in the rest of the country.
So I've gone over this story. The actual story came from News Center 5 out of Boston, Needham. In Massachusetts, it's still legal for a teacher to have sex with a 16-year-old student. Bills to update state law have stalled in the legislature for 10 years so far. That tells me something. 10 years, that would be 2015. There has to be a reason. If this was all said and done, and by the way, the story is done by a person by the name of Karen Anderson. I don't know her any other way than to say that I've seen a couple of stories by her from WCVB. But the whole story is based off of two girls. Melissa is one of them, and I forgot the other one. But they were girls at this school in Pittsfield, and they were, as the line goes, sexually abused. And they have been trying for a decade to try to get the law changed here in the Commonwealth, and they've been working with some people, and there are some legislators who are down with the program that they are espousing. But it's been up there for 10 years. Speaker Mariano, Senate President Spilka, they haven't been in their positions for 10 years. So there were other speakers, there were other Senate presidents. And for whatever reason, they didn't move forward on this. There's got to be something there. And I'm thinking it has to be the age. Because there's got to be a bright mind up there that says, so now what we're going to say is no kid can have sex with someone in school, with an authority figure. How are you going to regulate that? Once again, is it a bad idea? No, I mean it's a bad idea for a teacher or a school authority figure to have sex with a student, plain and simple. But what are you going to do about it? I had a reminding woman friend the other day, a woman that I went to high school with. She was actually 2 years ahead of me. She and I also went to the same college. And I had a car, and a couple of times, I would drive her home. I knew her. I knew her brother better because I played football with her brother. But we were talking, her senior year, she went to the prom with one of our teachers. And that was kind of like the talk of the hallway. So she and I are in the car, and I said, so I got to ask you about the situation. She goes, people used to make a big deal about this. Is what she was saying. This was a well-grounded young woman, and she was older than 16 at that particular time. She was 17. But it was a judgment call. Her parents knew about it. Teachers pulled the other teacher aside. You know what you're doing, George? That kind of stuff. And everything worked out. I didn't ask about any kind of... Here's what I do remember Jill telling me. She goes, at the prom, you'd be surprised how many girls wanted to dance with my prom date. So there. For whatever that is worth. So now you're going to say 16, that age is no longer nobody in high school. And it just does not work. For one thing, what are you going to do? Try to stop an 18-year-old who is a consenting adult at 18 from having some type of relationship with the teacher? Again, I can see why the Beacon Hill lawmakers are hesitant to move forward on this. At the same time, I can see why there are some women advocates out there saying this is sexual abuse.
Power to the people. Power to the people.
WBSM.
Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Charlie says, really rings the bell. Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Don't know any other penny that I love so well.
You know, most people are not business owners, but just about everybody knows one. The dirty little secret is most owners don't qualify for a bank loan because they lack collateral. At Legitimate Business Funders, owners can get up to $2 million in funding with no collateral, even with a low credit score. And they can get that funding in a couple of days. Find Legitimate Business Funders online at legitimatebusinessfunders.com. Legitimatebusinessfunders.com.
October brings it all. Halloween parties, game day tailgates, crisp fall nights. At Total Wine & More, you'll find just what you need for them all. Whether you're hosting friends or enjoying the cool fall air, you'll find thousands of wines, spirits, and beers at the lowest prices. Mixing up something spooky? Total Wine & More is your cocktail central for all your Halloween concoctions. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Pickup and delivery available in most areas. See TotalWine.com for details. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Lowe's knows that saving is always top of mind, especially this season. That's why we've picked some great deals for early Black Friday. Get free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit. More tools? Why not? Plus, we've got select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at $59.98 because it's never too early to think Christmas. Get Black Friday prices without the crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harris, owner of Life Source Water. Your tap water isn't as clean as you think. City water is full of contaminants, including chlorine that cities use to treat it. At Life Source, we believe your water should support your family's health. Our whole house system delivers filtered water from every tap, even your showers. For over 40 years, we've proudly built every system right here in the USA. Call our factory today at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
Warranty limitations apply.
Freedom Pools on WBSM. Here's more with Brian Thomas.
This is the biggest question I get asked is, can AIs replace teachers?
Welcome back. Wrapping up hour number one. If anybody knows anything about the SNAP benefits, if they came out, I would definitely like to hear from you. We'll talk a little bit more about that during hour number.
Here for the Lowe's early Black Friday deals? You're right on time for some of our biggest savings. We're talking up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Holiday lights going up soon? Select ladders are up to 50% off right now. Get Black Friday prices without the Black Friday crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 11/19. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
October brings it all. Halloween parties, game day tailgates, crisp fall nights. At Total Wine & More, you'll find just what you need for them all. Whether you're hosting friends or enjoying the cool fall air, you'll find thousands of wines, spirits, and beers at the lowest prices. Mixing up something spooky? Total Wine & More is your cocktail central for all your Halloween concoctions. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Pickup and delivery available in most areas. See TotalWine.com for details. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. P21.